Hello, fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the Tiger Women's Basketball Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. Tigers played 2 this week in the CAA, and as always, I'm joined by the head coach, Laura Harper. And Coach, as we know, CAA playtime, it's tough. Anybody can beat anybody any week.
It is. A lot of parity going on in our league right now. Is definitely a challenging week for us, but we learned quite a bit about ourselves.
Yeah, let's start. The Monmouth game, one of the weirder, more offensively bizarre games I've ever seen. You guys don't hit a shot from the floor in the first quarter, but you're within 6 points, I think it was, at the quarter break, and then Monmouth didn't have a third player score any sort of point until the third quarter. Gigi Gamble and Davine Dabula combining for 43 points when it was all said and done, 22 and 21. Just your thoughts on the game offensively and how it was just a weird game overall for both teams.
You know, I don't know if I've also coached in a game where we haven't had a field goal in the first quarter at all. I think, again, credit Gigi and Dabula for having such prolific offensive outings, both of their games this week. But, ultimately, I think it's just staying the course. And we were able to, and just proud of our fight throughout. Obviously disappointing to drop that one, but considering everything, it could have been a much wider spread game.
When that game was unfolding, and from a defensive perspective, Monmouth had come in, they have 4 players averaging double digits, and then no one could really hit anything except for those 2. Did that change what you guys were thinking about trying to do defensively as the game just progressed and progressed? I think we were prepared for Dabula to go for round 1, to overload, to, if needed, we would double. I think she is the best post player in the conference, in my opinion, and she's very hard to be guarded. And I think ultimately you have a plan, and that's why basketball is such a fun game to coach. But again, credit both of those players. On the plus side for Towson, Samaya Turner, double-double for her first double-double since coming to Towson. 10 points, 11 rebounds. I mean, she just, again, we've been talking about it the last few weeks. She just sets the tone night in, night out.
Yeah, she knows she's the X factor for us. She knows just what her energy and her offensive rebounding really brings, just giving us those extra opportunities. So it was good to see her have success.
And obviously you would have liked the win, but you're also out-rebounded Monmouth 52-40 early on, too. I think Towson had 7 offensive rebounds at the first media timeout. That had to make you happy. Of course, you would have liked to get some points out of those rebounds, but what do you think about the effort on the glass recently?
Well, when you're missing the amount of shots that we're missing, there's obviously more rebounds to be had, and I think naturally I would prefer us getting them and making the shots, but the effort's there, the intentionality's there. Those shots are going to fall, and we believe that.
So you head up to Long Island, take on Stony Brook, and another low-scoring output for both teams, 55-43. Another slow start in the first quarter. What is it? Maybe you look at the first quarter now, you look at what happened in Monmouth, and then just 2 shots made in the first quarter at Stony Brook. Is there a way to try to kickstart the offense at the start of the game?
Yeah, I think obviously we've made adjustments defensively, and that's why, we're coaches, and hopefully we can find a way to jumpstart our offense to begin. But we still trust it. We believe in the shots that we're getting. I think our offense is still giving us opportunities, and I think that's what's really encouraging. Now we just need to capitalize on some of those.
You've mentioned this team's ability to adapt and to keep fighting, and I mean, nothing screams adapt like the way that first half unfolded for Stony Brook. It's 9-4 between both teams in the first quarter, and then it's 22-17 alone in the second quarter. So the pace picked up in that second quarter, and Towson continued the fight. They scored the basketball. So what is it about this team that they are able to adapt and kind of go punch for punch for teams, however the pace is going?
Yeah, there's a level of resilience. I think having the amount of seniors that we have, they know that it's a 40-minute game. The game's not won or lost in the first 5 minutes, although that does set the tone, for us. So I think, again, it's just continuing to plug away at it and know that it's January 19th, I believe. So there's still a lot of basketball left to be played, and we're extremely encouraged.
Can't move on from this weekend without highlighting India Johnston, the newest member of the 1,000-point club for Towson. And obviously it says a ton about her as a special player, but Joe Matthews and I were talking about this off camera or off broadcast the other night. We see 1,000-point scorers all the time throughout the country, but now what's getting more rare is somebody who's done it at one school for 4 years. And India, 4 years here at Towson, to do it at Towson and do it, at one school. What does that say about her? And what is, the 1,000 points? That's no small task.
Of course, first of all, just her commitment to Towson, her loyalty, her fight, her resilience through she's had 4 different college experiences, and she's risen to every single occasion. She comes in with a smile every day, and she's produced every single year that she's been here. So it just says a lot about her character, the type of player she is, the offensive output and firepower that she has, and she's not finished. So it just says a lot about her as a person.
Especially when you look at her first couple of years. She was in that more of a role player role where she wasn't the highlight of the offense. Obviously, Kylie Cornegay-Lucas was here, among others, and for her to just then step into that primary scoring role and just fill it up as quickly as she did, I mean, she was ready to go and she never wavered.
And we've always known she's been capable of such, so it's just fun to see her play more complete games and just now becoming more of a local leader, being confident. It's a different India, and it's really fun to watch.
All right, so we move on from this past weekend and 2 more games. 1 at home, 1 on the road again. First, Friday at 11 o'clock, another field trip day here for the Towson Tigers, as Hofstra, who you've played already, successful trip up to Long Island last time around against the Pride, and Hofstra on a 4-game losing streak. What has changed, if anything, about them over these last 4 games since you've seen them?
I think the biggest thing, they're in every game. Their competitors, it's not going to be an easy game. We know just how physical and how aggressive they come. So ultimately, it's going to be a fight. We've talked a lot about it's not about the opponent, it's about us. And we're in a position where we need to crawl our way out of, whatever little rut we're in right now. So we're prepared.
And then Sunday, a trip to hometown for you up in Philly against Drexel, which this is the rivalry here for Towson now with no more Delaware. It's been Towson-Drexel for years now. And what's the key about, A, going into a rivalry game in Philadelphia on the road, and then also just Drexel, they're going to sit on the ball. They're going to waste as much time as they can. And Maris Baker is not to be messed around with, averaging almost 20 points a game. That's a big game up in Philly early on.
Of course. Well, first, Hofstra and Drexel are 2 contrasting styles.
Yeah.
So you go to Drexel, and you also know that they share the ball, they play the right way. Amy Mount's an amazing coach. So it's really just come in, play Towson basketball, and be ready to go.
All right. Tigers play 2 this weekend. First here at home, it's CQ Arena at 11 o'clock. Joe Matthews and I will have the call for that game. And then on the road, Sunday at 2 o'clock against Drexel, I'll have the call on TowsonTigers.com. For the head coach, Laura Harper, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us. And as always, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.